specifically right now, right there near the Garden State Parkway. That is where the most likely indicator of where this tornado would be, Bill. We saw, and you showed it, that rotation there.
Yeah.
Again, it's the rotation that we're seeing at the upper levels, to explain to everybody at home, and it's once that wind actually reaches the ground that you get the tornado. Even if we're not seeing one on the ground right now, the framework is there for it.
Absolutely, and I just got an image from, what's that? Oh, that's our Cape May camera. Yeah, you can see those flags. Flags actually whipping in from the water, which means there could be some inflow there.
Yeah.
There was a picture of a water spout, several that one of the guys on there said his friend or whatever from Milton, Delaware took. We'll see if that's verified, but if it is a verifiable picture, it's pretty impressive out over the water.
And just one other quick thing, I know we live in the Northeast, we don't live in the middle of the Midwest, but this same storm system today was responsible for producing other confirmed tornado reports in the northern part of New Jersey.
Right.
So that's another reason why we're taking this and want you to take this very seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. So a tornado warning until 6:15. It is 6 o'clock. Perhaps you're just joining us here looking for CBS News Philadelphia at 6 o'clock. We are on the air because of an active tornado warning in Cape May County. Frequent lightning. I mean, this thing is highly charged. It's got some very strong winds with it, and this warning is up until 6:45. They have not canceled it, the National Weather Service. So let me go down and give you an update. We're really focused in on Stone Harbor and Avalon at this particular point, north of Wildwood, north of Cape May. You guys have rain. You're very close, so I want you to take this whole thing seriously. But what we're watching here specifically is an area that the radar is showing some rotation right in there. It's a new severe thunderstorm for Kent County. This one right here, and you see a little bit of that green, and that's that spin that's moving at about 25 miles per hour. Let me give you another fresh sample. It was running in about 604 for Avalon and Stone Harbor, and I think that's holding 607 is what this says right now. So it's going to be pretty close to that time frame. Lowest level of the house, be inside, obviously. Most of you probably, I assume all of you are if you're watching this. A lot of lightning out there, which is dangerous, and the rainfall is incredible. So flooding is by far going. I don't have any doubt that's going on, but I do want to widen this out because this is not the only storm that you guys have. I talked about Kent County. Let me go back to the current warnings, and this is the severe thunderstorm. This is the tornado warning, and we have a severe thunderstorm warning over Kent. Now, this is the Delaware Bay, so only mariners are going to be impacted by that. However, this storm over here is moving your direction, and so that will continue over the next few hours. In fact, let me put the radar on, and this storm is way charged too. I mean, this one has more lightning strikes than the one currently over Cape May right now, but it is condensed. This one over Cape May is very strong. It's locally condensed, flooding, lightning, and that tornado warning out. It is a radar-indicated tornado. We haven't had any ground reports from that, but I continue to monitor from the National Weather Service. This here, I want to track this one out because this is going to be heading your way, and it's going to be another wave. So, you got to stay inside. You really do. If for no other reason, the localized flooding, and we're going to be getting more. So I'm going to sample this from where I'm seeing all the lightning, not where I'm seeing the rain, because there's going to be rain that continues. But it puts this in Cape May at about 45 minutes from now. You got Dennis at 6:49, Avalon closer to about 6:57. So in Cape May specifically, between now and Kent County, obviously, where the warning is at this particular time, you guys just need to stay indoors, but it is moving out over the Delaware Bay at this hour. But we're looking at another 45 minutes to an hour pretty easily of continuous rain with the storm system that's moving into Cape May. But that tornado warning is up now, and it remains in effect until 6:15. Let's go take one more look at it and show you. Fortunately, at this moment, it is the only tornado warning in our area, but we do have some severe thunderstorm warnings. But let's go down and take one more look at the velocity data and show you what that looks like here. So, Andrew, I would say it's not super clean.
No.
It definitely has some rotation in here, but it's not this real tight, what we call a couplet.
I mean, to make it really easy and simple, layman's terms, we have the green, which is wind going toward the radar, red, which was wind going away from the radar. When they're up against each other, you see that. And we have all seen where it really is very, very specific impact.
There's a little bit right here, a little bit closer, just basically over the beach, essentially south of Stone Harbor there.
Regardless, though, that also means that we're looking at winds at this point, 40, 50, maybe even 60 miles miles per hour. These have had a history tonight of producing not just potential tornadoes, confirmed tornadoes in northern New Jersey, and we've also been looking at winds and power lines down, trees down. We've
flooding
seen
rescues.
Yes, we've seen that. Oh, you were saying Market Street.
In Newcastle County.
Newcastle County. Yeah, not Philadelphia.
Businesses and cars.
Yeah.
You know, people stranded.
I've got a couple of fresh tracks I want to show everybody
please.
on some of those storms. So we'll start with the Cape May one, of course, and then we'll move on to the other severe thunderstorm warnings that we have. There's Cape May right now. There's Avalon. There's Stone Harbor. If you're Avalon to Cape May, this is where you need to be. Inside, away from any windows. Bill mentioned earlier, a lot of beach homes and a lot of beach towns don't have basements. If you do, great, get in there. If you don't, inside of the house. Now, of course, we also have Gloucester and Salem counties. These storms, by the way, if you take a look, they're in this line that's starting to form. We knew that was going to happen with some of these storms. We were concerned about the tornado threat for any of these cells ahead of it. And now we've got this line from basically Browns Mills all the way down into the southern edge of Salem County. Take a look. This is the velocity again. And one thing you'll notice here, we're not looking at a lot of red against green, right? But we are looking a lot of bright green. That means that the winds are going like this from the west, basically northwest to southeast, and pretty strong. And that means the leading edge of this is going to move in pretty quickly with gusty winds, most likely getting in on some straight line winds. So if you're in these towns, this is where we're likely going to see the potential for trees down, power lines down. Within the next couple of minutes here in Tabernacle, in Chemung around 6:14, Pittsgrove, the worst of the wind comes in at about 6:15, Winslow at 6:19, and 6:23 in Newfield. Again, these thunderstorms will continue to produce not only the potential for a tornado, since we of course have that tornado watch, but also those severe thunderstorm warnings, and we've seen numerous ones of those. Remember, we also have flash flooding to be concerned about, with a majority of the area underneath flood watches through the night tonight and into the early part of your Wednesday. Storms go all the way back toward Baltimore, and then we've got some rain that continues back toward the west, the capital region, Harrisburg, York. Those will continue to move up in our direction. Until we get past about 8 o'clock, we're going to have some instability or unstable air. In other words, favorability for storms to stay or become severe. So until we can get the sun down, we are still going to be looking for the potential for these storms, Bill, to stay on the severe side, even as we continue to watch for these storms that are to the west, not severe. They could be entering an area on top of us that are. We're not destabilized just yet. And the other thing on top of all of that is the flash flooding is going to be a concern way into the wee hours of the morning tonight.
Check that out, Andrew. That's a North Wildwood camera looking up to the north, and you obviously see the very heavy rainfall there. It looks like a shelf cloud to me, and it's hard to tell from the right-hand side. Does that look like maybe a funnel that's there?
That may be right over here on this side. I'm kind of pointing to it. That may be a funnel cloud.
It's hard to tell from this
It's very hard
point.
to tell from this vantage point. I know that I don't know if we can get that camera moved, but that it's the potential for it.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, speaking of that, I just reached out to the National Weather Service. That water spout that they put out, it's now officially part of the report, was off Broadkill Beach over Delaware Bay, so in Sussex County, Delaware. But that is, not too far. If that holds together, and I got to tell you, that picture, and if we can get, I asked if we got that one back up. Yeah, what are you seeing there? You think that's a funnel?
It could be. It's either going to be that was a funnel or is a funnel. It may be some scud.
Scud is basically like just pieces of cloud that kind of look like that. But you certainly got the heavy rainfall coming down.
All of what you see, I know I can't reach over into the next window here.
Right.
What you're seeing is virga. That is the rain that's falling right now over there. And we'll have to see. That may or may not have been a funnel. But either way, what it does tell us, even if it was a scud cloud, Bill, is that there is just so much rotation and violent winds up there in the atmosphere that this thing is likely giving these areas across the southern edge of the Jersey Shore here near Cape May, most likely winds gusting 50, 60 miles per hour or more.
Well, and we could be looking at this little area right here where this is within the warning. And by the way, the warning up for another 8 minutes. We had that camera down in Wildwood looking up to the north, and I have no doubt there's some rotation in the sky. We haven't had any confirmed reports that I've seen of any tornado on the ground. Radar indicated tornado warning remains in effect. That's the most recent thing. Cape May County, they don't say if they're going to extend. Well, they're not going to extend it because it's moving out over the water. So after 6:15, unlikely that they're going to continue that. But yeah, right now, it's essentially over Stone Harbor. So please, folks, take this seriously. You got some very active weather Extremely heavy rain. What was that? That was a cancellation of a flood warning into Delaware County. That's always good when we get some cancellations coming down. But that is some extremely heavy rainfall right there that you see off in the distance to the north.
We may be bringing up something from Cape May. I'm not sure. We may have a camera or a picture from Cape May that they're going to work on bringing up there. But again, what you saw there, and I can tell you this, Bill, if we're seeing that, by the way, on the live camera, there might be people looking that and seeing what that could have been a funnel there. We'll have to see. This is a live look now at Stone Harbor, which is, it's kind of clearing out right behind, just to show you.
Because we're looking to the west on that camera, if I'm not mistaken.
To your point, of how quickly this thing is going to be in and then out.
Yeah, exactly right. So tornado warning for Cape May County, but it's not just Cape May County, as Andrew was telling you about a little earlier on. We have several warnings that we have in our area. It is a very active weather situation across the region. You see all this heavy rainfall right now. Here's what look at where we stand. Let me kind of set the stage for you. We do have an active tornado warning until 6:15 that we talked about here. We have a severe thunderstorm warning up near Seaside Heights, Toms River, and Ocean County. Severe thunderstorm warning here, and this one is for parts of Burlington. It just touches Burlington County, or at least close to it. This is more Camden, Gloucester, Salem County. And then back over here, this is the newest one that we just got until let's see, this one here I believe is until 6:45, Newcastle County and Salem County, and Kent County. And they just issued something new there. What did they issue there? They just popped that back on.
That's another tornado warning.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see what they're doing down there. I'm going to read this here. So, they went to the southern part. I wonder if it's because of that water spout that was over the Delaware Bay, because that's exactly where it would have been. That water spout would have been right here. Okay, and that's heading that way. So let me read what they have while we're looking at that.
While Bill's looking at that, this is now the time. If you are in Cape May,
Is your mic on?
Should be.
Okay.
There we go. If you are in Cape May proper now, this is the time to make sure you're inside. We got a lot of people out there. Congress Hall, Washington Mall, that whole area. I know it's very popular this time of year, even on a Tuesday. Everybody needs to be in your shelters right now or inside. This is a little
right
rotation.
there.
This is where we potentially might have had a water spout. A water spout, again, is a tornado. It forms over water, of course. They're usually weaker. They're not lasting as long, but occasionally they do come on land. If you're in Cape May, right there at the point, this is what you're seeing right now.
Yeah, that's a good shot, because we're looking toward that. Let me back this up here real quick. I want to see if this is specifically. Yeah, that's exactly where that's exactly why they issued that.
Yeah.
When we go down here, right here, which is where those pictures were, and I haven't seen if we had confirmation to be able to air that yet, but you can see this moving in. There it is. I mean, right there where you're pointing.
Yeah.
Right there. That is where that water spout was.
I'll tell you what, can we put that into motion?
Yeah.
The velocity that's up to the
You
current
bet.
time?
You bet.
Just to give everybody, so where you see the green surrounded by the red, think of that as where the best location for where this water spout would be, and it's right here. And this is what's concerning, because what you're looking at on the left side of your screen is Cape May Point. And this would have this going right across.
Yeah, let's track that. Let's track that out, actually.
If there is a water spout here, by the way, if there is actually a water spout right here where the edge of my pointer finger is, that would mean that you would actually have the tornado or the water spout touch the beach, and if it gets on land, even for a second or two, that's a confirmed tornado touching land. So let's just be very careful here. Again, if you are in Cape May, inside right now.
Let's do this. Let's sample this out like this and show you what it's checking in. I mean, that's Cape May Inlet from the ferry, we're being told here from the west side. And it almost looks like there's
Bill, that
a funnel in the background there, no?
There. I'd be more confident in calling this a funnel
than
what we saw before.
Or maybe a wall cloud. It looks a little bit extended out. And basically, folks, a wall cloud is when the cloud in a severe thunderstorm lowers slightly before producing that rotation, of course.
And it looks like it kind of looks like it's lowering as we speak.
Yeah, it does. We're going to watch it. Do we have a capability of zooming in on that, or is that an at-the-shore camera? Can you tell me that? It's an at-the-shore camera, Justin? Okay.
But let's keep that shot up.
Yeah, keep that shot. Let's give some timing here real quick, right behind you. Wildwood Crest, 6:29. We're looking at Cape May at 6:30. That's another 15, 20 minutes here. This is one in Stone Harbor, 6:43. That's tracked at 25 miles per hour. But yeah, that's a little concerning there in Cape May for sure.
Yeah.
There's really not anywhere to go down in Cape May that I know of.
No, what makes me a little bit more concerned about this, again, we don't want you to be scared. We just want you to be prepared for what's happening right now, and that is you will be fine as long as you get inside. We're likely going to see some very gusty winds as this thing comes on shore within the next, honestly, couple of minutes. But Bill, regardless of if there is a water spout that becomes a tornado on land, that lowering right now, make no mistake, what you're seeing on your screen right now is a wall cloud, is lowering of the cloud, and
for sure.
The precursor to tornadoes most of the time.
Absolutely. When we look at what we called earlier scud, they're basically pieces of cloud. That's how I describe it simply. Pieces of cloud that are kind of just there. Sometimes they can look like funnels, but they usually aren't this extended. They aren't this big wide piece. They're just like little stuff that's out there.
Right, and when I'm watching it, because a lot of times a funnel can quit, especially if there's more rotation right there, will drop a funnel very quickly. Regardless, what you're seeing here now across Cape May Point and moving into areas like North Cape May and eventually Wildwood. By the way, Wildwood, heads up for you. I know it's one of the most popular boardwalks in southern Jersey. No doubt it's crowded even on a Tuesday afternoon. Everybody that's in Wildwood, all the Wildwoods, now's the time to get inside. You are under a tornado warning until 6:45. Again, not only radar indicated, but a confirmed water spout that we had across the Delaware. That's where you're seeing the green right now. There is rotation. The water spout, again, is just a tornado that hits water. And now that it's coming up on land, a lot of times the friction, it would be a tornado. A lot of times the friction of the land will quickly dissipate it. But regardless, we still want to make sure that everybody is safe and away from all of this. Right now, it is looking like it is moving right on shore at Cape May Point.
And all that, we're focused in on the rotation part of the storm for sure. But unlike maybe a tornado in the Midwest, and we've worked in the Midwest, you've worked in the Plain States there where it's super active, where you might have a tornado and not necessarily a ton of rain, but you can clearly see it's your classic. That's not the case. This is extremely heavy rain, just a ton of lightning, the rotations that there, the gusty winds. I haven't seen any hail reports. Hail's a possibility.
Very little.
But, so for all of those reasons, please just don't go out. Yeah, that's our Cape May camera there a little bit wider.
That's the point camera, right? Correct? Yes, thank you. Yeah, so again, and when I was in the Midwest, we called these the SLCs, the scary looking clouds, because, it does look very ominous out there. One thing I do want to point out for sure is that even if this does not move in and stay a tornado, water spout that is, we are still with thunderstorms like this capable of seeing gusty winds in excess of 50 to 60 miles per hour. Bill is focused in on this. I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to reset Max 3 because I want to show there's other portions of the area.
Yeah, please, because I don't want to leave out a ton of these other warnings that are out there, but we are hyper focused on this right now. So if you want to cook those up, that would be awesome. So this storm here, you're looking at the very heavy rain, you're looking at the lightning, it's making its way over the point as we speak, and that is where the active tornado warning is at this particular time. I'm going to put it back on the screen. Tell your friends and family. I'm sure we've been covering this now for the last 25 minutes or so. So I'm sure, I hope people are aware, if they have their phone, the automatic warning goes off, but all of the southern part of Cape May County is under an active tornado warning. So it's inside, as many walls between you and the outside as possible. The most damaging thing in a tornado is the stuff that's picked up by the wind, not necessarily the wind itself, but things kind of moving through. You could quickly get glass breaking, little pieces that come through the wall. So just as many walls between you and the outside as possible. We're looking at the Wildwood camera there. The rain has been incredible as we've been watching, and if I go and I just look at the sample from the radar, and it takes a little bit of time for the radar to populate the information and put it down, but look at these colors just over the last This is just over the last 3 hours, but in this area, it's going to be much quicker than 3 hours. And I'll just sample the middle of it right there. And this is indicating 2.5 inches of rain over the last basically hour, essentially, hour and a half. So there is definitely flooding going on throughout the county, in addition to the strong storms and the severe thunderstorm warning / tornado warning that is in effect. And that, again, is for Cape May County. Going back and looking at our velocity data, this is the product that we look at when we are focused in on tornado warnings, and this makes it pretty clear. So all of this red is where the winds are going toward the radar. Your legend's right up there. And the radar itself is up to the north, basically north-northwest slightly. So these winds are moving away from the radar, with the exception of this right here. This spot of green is, there's no question there's rotation there. It is moving toward the radar. So you have a little bit of this spin going on in the atmosphere now over land in Cape May. Does it mean absolutely a tornado? Not necessarily. It is a radar indicated tornado, and I haven't seen anything that confirmed that. But there is one thing that's for sure is this means, a strong storm. You don't get little baby storms that have this kind of rotation. No. Whether or not it produces an actual tornado, it's a dangerous situation.
A couple of quick points, and then I'm going to talk about some of the other areas in our viewing area underneath warnings and getting some impactful weather. But I want to talk about real quick.
That's where? Toll booth for the ferry? Is that what you said? Oh, in Cape May, got it.
Okay, so we've got a couple different cameras. We've been showing you a couple different vantage points. One thing I want to remind everybody, Cape May, busy touristy town.
Yeah.
Wildwood, one of the busiest boardwalks.
Sure.
There's a lot of people out there, and when you get weather like this, especially when you see a shelf cloud, because it's visually very stimulating to see,
yeah, of course.
A lot of people, the first inclination is to stay there and pull out their phones and take pictures and things like that. Listen, we all like to pull out our phones and take pictures of things, but this is one of those times where you just need to get inside, because even if you're seeing something from far away, these storms are packing not only cloud to ground lightning, which again is very dangerous in of itself, but also winds of 50 to 60 miles per hour. And we've seen damage reports today.
Yeah, and the flooding that we talked about a little bit earlier as well.
And the flash flooding.
I mean, in Cape May, in this part of Cape May County, I mean, there's really only one way in, one way out. You go north, and that's it. Now, on a couple of those areas, you got to go over bridges, and, that type of thing.
So we were very concerned about that. Bill, I know you're going to reset this and take a look at this. I want to show you guys real quick what's happening across other portions.
Got an alert that a Phillies game is in a delay. Is that what you said? Will begin in a delay.
Okay.
That's what we're just being told.
Makes sense. We'll have to see how long that's going to be, because there's still rain back toward the west. Okay, so we're not ignoring Cape May. Of course, we're looking at the tornado warning here. That is until 6:45. And again, if you're a little further back toward the western areas of Cape May and back into, we'll say, areas across Salem County, Gloucester County, I want to point out that the severe thunderstorm warning that we had has actually been allowed to be canceled. So that's good news here. But we do have some more severe thunderstorm warnings, one over toward Ocean and Burlington counties. Now, let me move back in here, the picture. Ocean and Burlington counties, this is going to be until 6:45 p.m. Likely here in Burlington County, we're going to see more trees down and power lines down. We have already had reports of that today. I want to talk about the velocity. This is, again, the winds going toward and away from the radar. A lot more green here, which means we're going to start to transition across central and southern Jersey into more straight line winds. And then back toward the west, I want to show you this real quick, because we have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect till 6:45. This will include Kent and Newcastle counties. Again, here we're likely to see, once again, winds of 60 miles per hour. This is the first time I've seen the hail that may be a little bit bigger on this. So Pete, a marble-sized hail, maybe even up to the size of a quarter. We'll have to see. I haven't seen too many hail reports again, but this is what we're seeing. And by the way, back toward Philadelphia, where we already had a severe thunderstorm warning and flash flooding, we are looking at rain continuing. Once we start to transition into more of just a rain event, flash flooding is still going to be an issue for us. Let me quickly go back to the Cape May storm. So I'm hitting back a couple of times on the clicker here, and I want to show you once again, we are watching this very carefully. Yes, Tuesday's severe weather went back just a little bit too much. Let's go ahead and go further in. And you can see that we, once again, will have this until 6:45 this evening. This is now moving up a little bit. And Bill, there's a little bit of a turn, instead of due east, more northeast right now. So Cape May, and once again, Stone Harbor over toward the Avalon area. I would say this is the time to once again stay put where you are, because even these same areas that were on the northern end of Cape May County that had the warnings earlier, now this storm that did have a confirmed waterspout is kind of hugging the shoreline here. So that's another reason that everybody needs to stay inside at least for the next 25 to 35 minutes. And
Andrew, on that note, our producer, Matt, just so you know, Matt, I just texted you those images. I did get the approval to air it, and I'll text you the credit on that. I'll have our producer.
Yes.
You got it? Okay, he's going to add those in. It's impressive. This water spout is very impressive. So as soon as you got those in, let me know. Let me text you the credit right now. Okay.
So while Bill is doing that, just to let you know, why it's so important for him to do this is because this is now not just a radar indicated tornado or water spout. Now we have actual visual proof that this is going to be now a confirmed water spout. And again, if you're just joining or you haven't heard us earlier, all a water spout is a tornado that happens to form over water. When it moves onto land, it's generally weaker and not as strong, but it still can cause damage. It still can cause a lot of issues and problems, and of course become property or life-threatening, which is why we are continuing to monitor the southern edge of Cape May County for that tornado warning until 6:45. And now as it kind of moves, this is where I am, where my finger is, as it kind of moves up the shore here, Wildwood and then over toward Avalon. Bill, would you be able to maybe zoom in just a little closer? Yeah, Cape May, we've got the Wildwoods, Stone Harbor, Strathmere, even up towards Sea Isle City, places along right inside. You know what I'm talking about, Fish Alley right in there. You want to make sure that you are just inside today. Right now, it looks like the best area of rotation is just a little further inland. But still, I think everyone across this is seeing severe weather as we speak.
And I'm hopeful that folks that were out, especially on the bay, you know, a lot of people out just recreating on the bay, maybe not going out in deep sea fishing or anything like that, saw in the distance something going on, or maybe had their phone and got in, because boy, being out on the water during a storm like this, the light, as you mentioned, the lightning, the heavy rain, now the gusty winds, and the possibility of that tornado there, and it's not a good place to be. And
it's important to note too about the amount of people out in Wildwood, again, one of the more popular boardwalk areas. Also, Bill, what we're seeing here, look at this. This
it's pretty bright there.
And you know what this means? This doesn't necessarily mean rotation right here. This part of the storm may have some very, very strong gusty winds. We could probably cue some of that out as well.
Yeah, because that's blowing away from the radar, so that's likely blowing off to the west and to the south.
Yeah.
It could be some outflow. We did get a report in Cape May from some of the inflow, I believe it was, and that's when basically the storm, as it's rising and building, it's sucking in air, to keep it very, very simple. I think the report came down at like 45 or 50 miles per hour. But this here, you combine these strong winds with then this area in near North Cape May, just over Route 90 or Route 8 there. We're watching this very closely because that could easily have rotation on it. And we're keeping a very close up Route 9. Sorry. So that velocity, as you can see, 51 miles per hour out of this one, and so that's basically what the radar is reading. Now, this is relatively far from the radar. The radar is much farther to the north. The higher you look, the farther away it is, I should say, the higher the radar is looking because of the curve of the Earth. So this isn't down at the surface, but it could easily translate into a tornado down at the surface. I did also see from the National Weather Service, the Slack channel there, we call it, which is the platform that we use. There was a report from somebody in Avalon that said no tornado spotted, but the weather was really active. So that was a while ago. A 42 mile per hour gust from the downdraft is what that was. So that's kind of the opposite of what I was saying there. And tornado warning remains in effect for Cape May City, and this is up until 6:45. So I'm continuing to watch the conversation that's going on, monitoring this, and it's going to be like we were talking about earlier. I mean, we have another at least 30 minutes we're going to be active. Okay, so the full screen is ready. Take a look. Here's what we have going on. This was the water spout that was caught over Delaware Bay, and you can see that is crystal clear. That is down into the water. The credit there is Julian Turcotti. I hope I'm saying that correctly. This was sent into the National Weather Service, and it was somebody who is part of that channel. It was one of their friends who sent this in, and actually they included a screenshot of their phone to show that it was a legit picture and not AI. I mean, this is being vetted through the National Weather Service. We have to trust that's the case with them. But yeah, that picture there really shows the strength of that. And when you look down toward where it's hitting the water, you can actually see the different colors where the water's kind of being lifted. So there's no doubt that that funnel cloud had reached the ground in this situation, a water, and that is a textbook water spout. I mean, it almost looks like a textbook water spout. A lot of times water spouts are a little bit skinnier, maybe not as robust as a strong tornado, but they can be.
But here's the interesting thing about looking at this picture too, because that is obviously over the Delaware.
Yeah, the Delaware Bay, right.
The water has very little significance on what was happening up in the sky.
Right.
And imagine those right ingredients came together a little bit later. That could have touched the ground on land somewhere in Cape May.
Well, and this energy that we've been talking about, that is the same energy. If we just go, let me just reverse this real quick so you can see.
Because it was impressive out here.
It was impressive. Yeah. I'm going to go back 45 minutes and we'll track that back. And right here, right where you said, that's where that was caught, because it was caught off just north It was. Let me show you specifically where that picture was taken from, and it was right down in here over Broadkill Beach. So there's Broadkill Beach, and they were shooting out over the Delaware and got that picture of that.
This just goes to show the atmosphere today. Very, we had, when we were doing earlier, 3 o'clock to 4, about 3 o'clock, we were doing a live cut-in, because we typically do before severe weather. Just so you know, before a severe weather day, we're going to be on the hour most of the time, giving you live updates. And about 3 o'clock, we had a temperature in Philadelphia of 86 degrees, but it felt like the mid to upper 90s. So there's that's just one of the ingredients. There's just so much humidity in this. So the atmosphere is right for thunderstorms. I'll tell you what, we're going to continue to look at this, Bill, but we're going to send it back really quick to Yuki Washington. He has some updates from our studio. Yuki.
Here is my mic up. There we go. Gentlemen, don't go too far. We're coming up on just about 6:30 right now. And with that being said, just a heads up, we are going to stay, as Andrew mentioned, stay right here with continuing coverage from our team of meteorologists. And if you would like to catch up on the CBS Evening News with Tony DeCopo, we are airing that in just about a minute on Philly 57. But right now, let's get back to Bill and Andrew as the tornado warning continues for at least another 15 minutes down in South Jersey. Gentlemen?
Yeah, 15 minutes, Uke. So I just did a fresh sample for you.
Here.
Yeah, oh, gotcha. So Avalon still tracking up at about 7 o'clock. We have 6:29 right now. The Rio Grande, I always get confused, Rio Grande, in this area, everywhere you live, it's pronounced somewhere different. Wildwood, 6:40, Rio Grande. Cape May at 6:49. Swain at 6:56. If you see your town or you know anybody that's here, that is a track as to where the likely strongest part of the storm when it comes to the rotation is. All these places have had active weather for the last at least half an hour, if not longer. So this isn't when the storm arrives on your door, because there's been plenty of that already. But I am sampling the most active part that Andrew and I have been talking about in this particular storm. And this has that history of that impressive-looking waterspout over the Delaware Bay.
And again, thanks to Julian for verifying that. In the age of AI and things like that, we don't want to show you anything that's not 100% verified. But yes, and that was a pretty impressive looking one. We're going to throw that back up, I'm sure, here in just a little bit. But let me first bring you to some of what we're watching across the rest of the state. We want to, of course, remember and remind you that we have that tornado warning for Cape May County until 6:45. Again,
they just said, by the way, the warning will continue, though the storm and rotation are starting to show signs of weakening.
Okay, always a good thing.
That's what NWS Mount Holly just said.
We don't let our guard down until, of course, the warning is canceled. But that is a good sign. In the meantime, let's talk about Philadelphia. Let's talk about central New Jersey, from Chemung down to Winslow. These are storms that were severe about 10 to 15 minutes ago. They are still packing a punch. We're going to see frequent lightning, a ton of torrential rain, and the potential for flash flooding. Philadelphia right now, we're looking at some rain, but it is not at this point going to be severe anymore. But this is the line of storms right now that is continuing to move from basically Toms River through Chemung, Winslow, Pittsgrove. All that red here, that is torrential rain, and it's not out of the question for us to see anything between 1 and 2 inches per hour with these storms. I put the velocity on this as well to show you that there isn't any real rotation with this. It's a lot of straight line winds, and we've seen straight line wind damage. As far as any severe thunderstorm warnings go, it's Kent and Newcastle counties now in Delaware. These storms packing a punch with 60-mile-per-hour winds, potentially even a little bit of hail with this. If you look toward Philadelphia, back to the northwest and then to the west over toward the Lancaster area in the capital region, that's where the storms are starting to come in. These are non-severe over toward Harrisburg and York, but we're going to keep our eye on it because the atmosphere is still a little unstable. But Bill, I can tell you, as we start getting a little bit closer to sundown, I know we got some time to go, that's going to make things a lot better. It's going to help to stabilize the atmosphere a little bit. And because the storms have been so severe across central southern New Jersey, obviously the shore now, it may help to stabilize things a little bit so that anything out west won't become severe. That's the hope. Yeah,
the heavier rain will be a threat tonight. Hey, I have this focus right down here. This is Wildwood down in Cape May County. There's Diamond Beach just south of Wildwood, and that's where we have our own Joe Holden. He's joining us on the phone right now. Joe, what are you seeing? What can you tell us?
Well, Bill and Andrew, you know what? The entire sort of back end of the afternoon has been really punctuated by these storms, and it really seemed almost like surround sound. There was thunder everywhere, but not the Diamond Beach area. And right now, I can tell you, I just see a great 180-degree picture of clouds and various shades and colors. It rained very hard here for about 20 minutes. Some gusty winds, but really the if you will, the thick of the action seems to be across the bay from where we're at. So as I look right now, some very dark clouds, some dark blues and purples. And then to the left of my vantage here, as I start looking towards Cape May Point, we see lightning, lifting, even some clear skies as you look back towards like the beaches, the ocean, and I'm right on the bay here. So it has been sort of a dramatic afternoon, and really you talk about this, one of the height of the summer vacation season down the shore. This thing, especially to the north, talking to some friends in Beach Patrol and towns, Stone Harbor, Avalon, Sea Isle City. The storm packed a punch for sure. Haven't heard any damage reports yet from county officials, but just giving you an idea of what I'm seeing as we are speaking right now. We have every cloudscape really in front of me as I look out across the bay. Again, in the area of like Cold Spring Village, Central Lower Township, West Cape May, that area all seems to be definitely continued to be impacted. You see the sheets of rain well in the distance. My kids and I were just talking, maybe 4, 5, 6. My daughter checked it out. She said visibility, Dad, is 8 miles. So well in the distance, you just see these sheets of rain happening on the other side of the bay here. Did
the tornado warning go off on your phone there?
It sure did. It sure did. You know, we get the 2 warnings now. The one that suggests tornado warning and then an imminent or a critical threat. So both came across. I have to tell you, we are safe for the most part. We've watched these clouds now for most of the afternoon roll literally in my vantage point from left to right, so from south to north. And but I've not heard a lot of shots.
Joe, did you get, you were exactly right, where a majority of this energy was north of where you are in Diamond Beach. Did you get any strong winds for a brief period of time, or where you were, was it relatively calm compared to what went on and what is going on up north?
It was relatively calm. I'll tell you, they picked up a bit, and it was raining very heavy for about 20 minutes. And right now, as it stands here in Diamond Beach, it's not raining at all.
Yeah, that storm is continuing to lift to the north. In fact, the heaviest right now is north of Wildwood for the most part. In fact, we got some video, I'm being told, that Joe sent on in. Joe, we're going to take a look at that right now. This is video that you shot just like standing there from your phone. Is that what this is?
This is video from maybe the last 10 minutes, and there are a number of videos that were sent in, but the one where you and Andrew were talking about that energy down in, say, like extreme southwest Cape May County is where I could pick up what was a noticeably dark, very dark cloud, sort of, forgive me, I'm not a meteorologist, moving, training, whatever, from south to north. And before that, though, it was just a lot of rain. And the only way I can describe, he's familiar with the shore, you could kind of hear thunder very far in the distance. And some of this it almost seemed to be of a surround sound effect. So there were storms, it felt like, all over the place for a period of time. But, you know, there's that thing sometimes people refer to as the bubble down here. Certainly we did not see anything severe in Diamond Beach through the duration of this. It was just that heavy rain and a sort of a burst of wind for maybe 40 seconds.
Well, Joe, we really appreciate you calling in and, you know, being safe down there. Obviously, you know what to do when that happens, and you know, you're in a safe place. You're able to get that video, and we're looking at it now still, and you can see what you were just describing, that very heavy rain away from you, but it's just clear, those clouds that you mentioned, and that heavy rain. Inches of rain has fallen in Cape May County. It's been pretty remarkable.
And they have now trimmed off the bottom edge of that warning. And now what that means is that we're looking at places a little bit north of Cape May over toward the Wildwoods and Stone Harbor, which is not particularly itself underneath the warning, but as this goes together. One thing I want to say
real quick, I will tell you that the National Weather Service said that they are going to allow this to expire at 6:45. Is that what you're going to say?
Well, I was going to say I would imagine that it would, because now the wording on this went from, you've seen it. We have the proof. We saw a funnel cloud and a water spout, to radar indicated, which shows this thing has already had a history of producing a funnel cloud, a water spout, but now radar indicated. So the nice thing is this very small slice of area here.
Yeah, and there's really not much being shown on velocity any longer.
Which is, remember, there's not a lot. We had that pronounced.
Yeah,
pronounced
it was
earlier, and now it's not. So again, the great news about all this, and there's Wildwood, as you can see right to the left of me there. Doesn't look like there's a lot of people out there right now, which of course is a fantastic thing.
Yeah.
Yes. But this goes to show that these things can spin up very quickly and then die down very quickly. This storm, again, produced a water spout, and if we have that picture still from Julian of that water spout.
Let's go back on our radar here, and you can see right in there. Let me go back.
Yeah, that's where it was.
Yep, I'm going to run the whole thing.
I can see it right there. So again, if we can throw up that picture of the water spout that was over the Delaware, this is what we were watching.
Right
and you can see it here. Radar indicated is what we're seeing here on the screen, and what we're about to show you on the screen is what actually was produced by that, and
that's impressive.
It's a very impressive. It's Bill. It's a textbook-looking water spout. And again, the most listen, from a meteorological standpoint, it's beautiful to see over water. But then you see that this thing can come on land, and when it does, that's when it becomes a tornado. And again, we're concerned always with this because when they come on land, that's when they can cause damage to people, places, property, things like that. But water spouts, and this may have been the situation here, when they start over water, become a water spout, and then hit the land, it's that friction a lot of times that creates them the situation where they just kind of dissipate or don't remain strong. But either way, we have to take this very seriously. And there you go. This was a confirmed water spout. Today, it was what was prompting the tornado warning for Cape May County. That is still on for another 6 minutes.
Another 6 minutes, yeah. That's Broadkill Beach there in Sussex County, pretty much right where you're standing, just north of Lewes here, right? Basically right there where they saw that move on out. So also just worth mentioning, because sometimes people mention funnel cloud is when you get the spin, but it hasn't touched the ground. The second it touches the ground, that's either a tornado or a water spout. I'm looking up at our monitor here, and it looks like there's been an update of some sort, potentially, with the watch and the warning. So let's get a look at that and see if it's changed here. Okay, so here's some, this is a nice update. Philadelphia, Delaware County, back to the west, no longer under a tornado watch.
So that has been allowed to expire. Now, I'll tell you the other thing is we were watching this and it was originally till 9 o'clock, right? But these storms have now stable. We just talked about this about 10 minutes ago. They have helped to stabilize things a little bit. In other words, all the energy that's out there has been wrung out on top of us so that everything out to our west is likely going to come in and be under severe weather limits. But that still is important for us to understand. We got to take it seriously. The ground is very saturated. We've already seen flash flood watches and warnings, and it is likely that we will continue to see that. So, Bill, even as we maybe, I don't want to say stand down, but as we anticipate these storms becoming less severe throughout the night, we need to remember that the flash flooding is going to be an issue here, likely for at least the next couple of hours. And we have some flash flood warnings that go until the wee hours of the morning Wednesday.
Yep, and so the nice thing is, yes, the warning itself for the tornado is still technically in place. It is going to expire at 6:45, so that's 4 minutes from now. But the radar is showing that the tornado possibility is for the most part lifted. It doesn't look like it's there at all. So it's not like there's this big tornado that's now rushing out to sea, but the energy is moving from the south to the north. I want to put this into motion. You can see it. This is kind of moving up the shoreline, but the signs are not showing rotation any longer. So the National Weather Service has said we're not going to extend this out. We're going to let it expire at 6:45. There's still a strong storm now working its way up, heading towards Sea Isle City. Heavy rainfall, frequent lightning. You go back into northern parts of Cape May County, and that's where there's more energy. There's a look at Dennis. Let's take you up a little farther north, say up into Atlantic County as well. Egg Harbor, Mays Landing. You got Corbin City down here. Back over to Winslow, right at the border here of Camden and Gloucester County. The AC Expressway is going to be real slow, I'm sure, for a period there. And then you maybe go up north 206 up toward Hamilton. That's really going to be wet there. You drive back here to the west, Williamstown, that's going on. As you can see, there's a lot of activity around. But as we stand right now, the tornado warning is going to expire. We do have severe thunderstorm warnings that remain in spots unless they lifted that. Let's see, we got just the 2 there that we have in our area. So the one is into Atlantic and Burlington County here, and then right behind you there into Kent and Newcastle County is another warning.
I have been watching this one, Bill, and it's
The Kent one?
The Kent one, because it did have the potential also for a little bit of small hail. One thing I would want to tell everybody, and by the way, this is if you're watching, whether it's from Cape May, Wildwood, or this area here, or if you're watching from Philadelphia, or if you're watching from Allentown, this is so important because we always take these things very, very seriously, no matter where they drop. But Cape May, an exceptionally busy time of year, couldn't be more busier when it comes to the tourist season. Wildwood, one of the busiest boardwalk areas across the Jersey Shore. I mean, there are so many people down here having fun, even on a Tuesday. It's summer vacation season, so it's so important, especially evening time. People are out there getting their evening plans going, hitting the boardwalk, having dinner, and then you've got that tornado warning. And that's a lot of people to get inside, people that may not have a home to go to because they've just been out on the beach.
Sure, so you got to find a restaurant or find some sturdy building to get into. So this warning expires here in just about a minute or so. Uke, we're going to send it on over to you.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. Another excellent job as always. And we will provide updates on the conditions at the top of the hour at 7 o'clock and at the bottom at 7:30, then full updates and all of your day's news at 8 o'clock on Philly 57. If any other tornado warnings start to ping, we will jump on CBS to keep you in the know with what's going on around you. I'm Yuki Washington on behalf of Bill, Andrew, Joe Holden, our entire team, the folks you don't see, working hard behind the scenes. Thank you for watching. Be safe, and we'll see you tonight.